Okay, so here's our standard hello world, and you will notice people have been a little worried because if you go to problems, it tells you that there are some problems. So even the editor is trying to help us out, okay? So I'm gonna go back to terminal, and I'm just gonna do ls. Here's our hello world, and I'm just gonna paste in, whoops. Gonna paste in the block command. Okay, so I'm gonna run the program block. I'm gonna check for any differences on all the Python files. So this is the kind of error that you would get, okay? One file would be reformatted. So we can run that program before we submit our code to make sure that it's formatted properly. So there's something wrong with this, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you the perfect example. So the first thing we need to include is this weird line at the top. Oh, it's not doing copying right. Let me try that again. There we go. So this line is actually called the shebang, okay? S-H-B-A-N-G. And what it tells the computer is, make sure you go to user bin and evaluate Python 3, use Python 3 in our following program, okay? Which makes sense, we want to be using Python 3. The next thing we need is we need a proper document string that tells everybody who wrote this program, okay? So created by, and you put your name, created on, you put the month and the date, and in one sentence, don't forget to put a period, explain what this program does, and then you end with 3 quotes as well. So it's a multi-line comment, 3 quotes to open, and notice they're highlighted, 3 to close. When we're done, we're gonna put 2 enters here, okay? That's the standard that it's looking for. So these are just, the shebang hasn't changed anything, and this comment hopefully hasn't changed anything. Whoops. If we run our program, it should still run. Okay, so they haven't changed anything. The next thing that I'm gonna add is this weird if statement. Okay, so at the moment, we're just going to trust Mr. Coxell that he's not lying to you. So this is always going to be evaluated as true for us, and then it's going to go in here and it's going to say, go and run the function called main. So if we're going to run a function called main, we need to actually write a function. Now, we haven't really talked about what a function is. We're going to get there. So for now, what this is instead of just having our chunk of code sitting by itself, we're going to place it inside what's called a function or a different structure. We're going to define that main, okay, which comes from here, and we're going to pass back none. And then we'll have this line of code. Okay, now I know it doesn't really make sense. I know it looks like I'm doing some weird voodoo stuff. Previously, we just had this one line of code and it ran it. Now what's gonna happen is it's gonna remember everything inside here. Then it's gonna get here. It's gonna say, go up to main and then run our print command, okay? So if I run this again, notice nothing has changed. Now, you're probably thinking, well, why would I do all that extra work if nothing has changed? It's going to make our life easier down the road. So instead of learning a certain way of doing things, and then when we get to a point, say, okay, now we're going to do something different from now on, we're just gonna start at the proper way to begin with. So if this doesn't totally make sense at the moment, that's okay, we're gonna get there, okay? It also wants an empty line at the very end. Notice there was an error here previously, and it goes away when we do that. Another thing that we would like to do is, at the end of our program, tell the person that it actually ended properly. Like, if someone's running our program, do they know that it actually finished correctly? Like, maybe something went wrong. So to do that, we're gonna have a print command, and we're going to, whoops, inside quotes, we're gonna write done, okay? So it's gonna print out our program, and then it's going to say done. So if I run this again, ooh, what did I do wrong there? Something went wrong. What's it looking? Oh, I put the quote outside the bracket, not inside. Okay, let's run that again. There we go. So now it says done. It would be nice if done, like there was a space and then done. So to do that, we use the special character /n. Okay, so that's just gonna add a space. And now the program runs, and the standard is if it says done, dot, then we know that it finished correctly. Okay, so the last thing we need is, just like we put a comment at the top of our program, it turns out that you should have a comment at the beginning of every one of these functions. Okay, that's why it's giving us this curly thing, and when you hover over it, it says missing function or method document string. Okay, so this I call the document string. It's missing one here, so we're just gonna put one in here as well. So the one up top tells you what the program does. The one here tells you what this particular function does, and normally it's on a single line. Okay? Because it's on a single line, it starts with 3 quotes and just ends with 3 quotes, all on the same line. You say what this function, main, prints out hello world, returns none. That's what this is doing. And we'll get to what a return is later. You'll notice that the little helpful hint that you had done something wrong is gone. Okay? So this is just a document string, a comment. It shouldn't change our program, so it still runs. Okay? So this is considered the perfect solution for what a Python program should look like. Always start with the shebang, have a document string that says who created it, when, and what it does, 2 spaces. You have this if statement at the end. It says to go up here to main. You tell the person what it does. You print it out. You have 1 blank line, and then you say done. So if I run my linter checker again, it should run perfectly now. Oh, and I missed something. Oh, I know what I did. So I'm still getting some error here, okay? This was my program. This is what it wants, okay? And it's saying it wants an extra line here. So if I go back to my code, right here, it wants 2 enters, just like I had 2 here. Okay? So this will happen over and over again. You type your code, you check it, it'll tell you what the mistake is, you fix it, you run it again, it'll tell you something different, and you just keep going back and forth. Unlike math class, where the teacher expects you to get the right answer the first time, that never happens here. Okay? And we let the computer help us. So we run it again. There we go. All done. 1 file left unchanged. We're good to go. So I would normally type clear ls, run it again, and this would be the screenshot I would show that my program is styled correctly. And then I would run clear ls, and that to show the person that my code actually does what it's really supposed to do.